That seems better, right? That seems better. Hi everybody, my name is Rosalie and welcome back to my channel, Back to Chubby. Today is a do it with me weight loss, so I'm gonna meal prep with you for the first time in a while. Well, I mean, I guess I sort of did in the last one, I just sort of threw some stuff together. I actually cooked this time. I will talk about the recipe afterwards. I think it needs a little bit of adjusting. It is a recipe that I found on a blog, which I should probably remember the name of, but I don't right now, so I found it here. And I will link to that recipe in the description box below if you want to head over and try it out yourself. Let me go ahead and just show you what went into it first, and then I will talk about some of the tweaks I think might be beneficial. This week for dinner we're going to be having some beef and broccoli. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop up some broccoli, put it in a colander, rinse it off, and set it aside to drain while I work on cutting my steak into some thin strips. It doesn't have to be high quality steak. I think this pound was probably about $5 for me at Aldi. I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside while I work on the sauce. Using one of these adorable little measuring cups that I got for Christmas, I'm going to measure out ½ a cup of coconut aminos. Add in some chopped garlic. You can add as much or as little as you want. I love garlic, so I'm gonna go pretty heavy. Then I'm going to get another bowl, add in 2 tablespoons of arrowroot, and then I'm going to put ½ a teaspoon of pepper in both the arrowroot and the sauce that I'm making. Finally, for the sauce, I'm going to peel and grate about 1 tablespoon of ginger. I'm going to move that to the side then, and the next thing I'm going to do is coat the slices of steak in the arrowroot. It doesn't have to be great or perfect, it just helps to thicken the sauce and to get the sauce to stick to the meat. Then in a skillet over medium heat, I'm going to melt some coconut oil, and in batches I'm going to add my steak strips. I'm going to turn them as I need to, but they should be thin enough to cook in about a minute or a minute and a half. After all the steak has been cooked through, I'm going to add a little bit more oil and saute my broccoli for about 5 to 7 minutes until it starts to soften. Finally, I'm going to pour in the sauce and mix in the meat, stirring for about 5 more minutes to get everything warmed up evenly until the sauce starts to thicken. Then just serve it up. Okay, so the meal prep is actually pretty easy for this meal, but it was a little bit time consuming, and it might just be that I didn't take the time to get all my ingredients together. I wasn't working in here, so I was working with a much smaller prep area in there, so every time I finished a step I had to find somewhere else to put everything. We don't have a lot of counter space in the kitchen. By a lot, I mean we probably have about, well, I guess you can't even see what I'm doing, about this much, maybe this much, next to our really big farm sink. And then I've got sort of this little rolling cart thing to work on, and that's what you saw in the video. So it was sort of a pain to prep in there, but it kept this room clean. And as you might know if you've been watching for a while, this is the first time I filmed in here in quite a long time, because this is the first time this room has been clean enough to film in here in a long time. It's the cleanest this room has been in a long time, not only like having picked up, but you know, sweeping and mopping the floors and getting up on a ladder to clean the ceiling light and dusting the bookshelves and, you know, like actually cleaning this room. So I didn't want to mess it up right away. Anyway, I cooked in there, and so it took me a little while to do the recipe, and I think now that I've done it and in the future having set some stuff aside, it would go a lot faster, and it would go a lot faster if I had a bigger work area. Anyway, here's the thing about the recipe. The person who wrote it was very careful to make sure and let you know to either use coconut aminos or low sodium soy sauce, because if you use ½ a cup of soy sauce, it's really, really salty. I think it's still a little bit too salty. Not even me being paranoid about sodium too salty, but taste-wise, it was still really, really salty. So I would actually recommend maybe cutting that soy sauce with a little bit of broth instead. Another thing that I would tweak if I make it again is I probably won't use arrowroot or cornstarch or whatever you want to use instead. I know that it helps thicken the sauce a little bit, but it was almost a little bit too thick for me. Maybe I cooked it too long, but it was almost a little bit goopy. It's just not what I'm used to if I have beef and broccoli, like from a restaurant. So I think I would probably either leave it out or just sort of sprinkle in maybe a quarter of what I used there into the sauce itself. I don't think I would coat them again. Maybe that's just me. Okay, listen, since I got home, which has been less than half an hour, this guy has not stopped. He just keeps walking back and forth and digging in his box and just sitting in the other room meowing for no reason. What? He doesn't want attention from me. He doesn't want me to touch him or pick him up or pet him or anything. And now he's just sitting in the other room staring at me. Reeling it back on into what I was saying, if you want to give that recipe a try, there's a link in the description box below. Feel free to adjust it how you want to. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is I would add way more broccoli. I think I actually liked the broccoli in the sauce and everything as it was better than the beef. I might just do it in the future with just broccoli. It was pretty good. Since I've started losing weight, even when I've hit plateaus or gone off track or started, having some old habits come back, I found that there are some foods that I never used to care about very much that I actually crave sometimes now. I don't know what it is, but I love Brussels sprouts now. It's pretty weird. As I mentioned in my last video, we are starting to do keto but haven't really hit that point yet. So this recipe was an effort to add more protein and some more fat through the oil and stuff, and some more sodium, some more electrolytes essentially, to try and avoid whatever happened last time when I started getting the keto flu. And this time, rather than sort of going keto cold turkey, we are sort of trying to wean our way that way. Now I know a lot of people, last time when I said we're thinking of doing keto again, we're not, why am I even more purple now? Just ignore it, just pretend it's not happening. When I said that we were going keto last time, a lot of people were kind of either weary about it. A lot more people seemed pretty happy about it. This time I haven't felt bad like I did last time, and so far my guts have been doing okay. But like I said, we aren't full keto yet. We're just trying to go low carb first and then work our way that way. My guts have been a little bit better this time, and I think that's because I've been taking care to do a lot more vegetables and roughage, a lot more salad with the protein, or a lot more broccoli with the meat, rather than just a whole bunch of sausage and cheese. Also, I don't handle cheese very well, so I'm trying to stay kind of away from that this time as well. Anyway, I do want to remind you though, it's very, very difficult, but it is possible to do even a vegan keto diet if you wanted to. Vegetarian keto would be way easier, but as long as you've got some protein and supplements, a crap ton of avocados and nuts, it would be fine to get in a lot of healthy natural fats and quite a bit of protein while being low carb as a vegan. I know most vegans prefer sort of a high starch, high carb, low fat kind of diet, and that's fine. I'm not trying to convince you to go vegan. I'm just saying, just because I'm going keto doesn't mean I'm just gonna only eat bacon or whatever. I spent so much money on avocados this week, which were even on sale, so they were less expensive than they normally are, but I've got 12, well, I don't have 12 anymore, but I bought 12 avocados so I could have 2 a day, so that is quite a bit of fat and protein and quite a bit of calories just from that natural source. So, avocados though are something I have a harder time getting Josh to eat. He just doesn't really like them. He doesn't like the texture. He does a little bit better with guacamole, but he still doesn't really even like guacamole. So, that's just something for me, and we'll figure out something else for him. It is a bit easier though already trying to do some things together. The very first day, like I said, there was a lot of like avocados and beef and broccoli, which he liked, and a few other things, but by the end of the day he was craving carbs already, day one. But it was fine. He went and got himself carbs, didn't bring me any, didn't get something that I would like or bring it into the house. So, you know, I feel like that's okay for us to feel like we're doing it together, but then if he wants to change, doing it without also making it harder on me to stay on track is something I appreciate. Also yesterday, you might have seen on Snapchat, I wore flip-flops to work and capris because the night before it was like 60 degrees. And when I got up in the morning, it still seemed like really warm. It was pretty nice and breezy. And as the day went on, in Kansas, there are rapid weather changes. So when I got up, it was like 40, and by the time I left work, it was like 15. And it started snowing and like sleeting and icing. So Josh, on his way home, came to pick me up at my building just to drive me to my car. Like, I've gotten to where I sort of enjoy the walk from my building to my car, but I was wearing sandals and capri pants, and I normally handle the cold pretty well, but it was nice of him. Anyway, I am obviously starting to ramble. It was one of those days at work where it was a long day for no real reason. Like, I got a lot done, and I didn't have a lot of interruptions. I just did what I needed to, and then for no apparent reason feel kind of drained and a little bit cranky. I don't know why. It might have something to do with the way we're eating. We'll see. Anyway, as a reminder for you guys, you can find me on social media, like I said, Snapchat or Instagram with the username BackToChubby, all one word. There's also a Facebook page that I almost always forget exists. If Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and all that kind of stuff isn't really your thing, I do have a P.O. box as well, and the information for that is in the description box below. And finally, there is a link to BetterHelp, which is the mobile counseling service I use. So if you feel that you want to try maybe therapy and regular therapy is a little bit too expensive for you, you can use my link below to give that a try as well. I also keep saying I'm going to do a follow-up video on that, and I haven't, and I should. One last question. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I wanted to start trying to do different videos. I don't really want to get locked into anything else. I just want to try some stuff. But the other night I was really tired and couldn't sleep, and it's like 3 in the morning and I was just laying in bed on my phone, and for whatever reason I found myself for the first time on Wish. So I spent some money on there that I didn't need to, almost all on shipping. But I've started to get some of those items, and I know sometimes people like to see product reviews that I do, so I was wondering if you guys would be interested in a review of some of the very, very cheap things I got off of Wish. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here for today. I hope wherever you guys are, you are safe and happy and healthy. Remember to just keep trying the best you can, and I will see you on Friday.